Welcome to the show. It's June 24th and Friday night here on the Hog Sty. We're going to have some fun. First, are the Redskins losing a generation of fans? Friend of the show, Rick Snyder, writes about it, and we're going to weigh in. Then we've got some more position group spotlighting to do. We're going to break down our intrepid offensive tackles from the names to the salary cap. And then we're going to play a little game. So, grab your Hog Sty t-shirts, available now while supplies last, and join us. It's all coming up next.
Welcome to the Hog Sty with your crew, Alex Zeese, Steve Thomas, and Robbie Duncan. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Sean Conti. The team is here. What's up, Steve Thomas?
Hog Sty late night. I'm so excited.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we're having
It's back, baby.
Yeah, we're having a party here Friday night.
Woo!
You know, we've got a bunch of illicit things going on in the Hog Sty studios. I'm not. I don't do that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to speak
I'm
for
like,
Alex.
who's doing illicit things?
Isn't that's supposed to be the Friday night thing? Isn't it? I wouldn't know.
He wouldn't know, yeah. See, you guys are all at the clubs here. You're probably listening to this on Saturday, but we're partying up in our own way. Isn't that right, Mr. Robbie Duncan?
Absolutely. What's going on, Sean?
Not a whole lot, dude. I'm kind of excited for this.
Yeah.
This is
Me
going to be
too.
fun.
Yeah,
Let's give him a good show tonight, Mr. Alex Zeese.
I mean, we haven't done a late night show in a long, long time. I mean,
We've been good about that.
Yeah, we do them on the season, but not usually on the off season. So
Just wait till
this
we
is
get
fun.
to the Monday night games until we get to do those again.
Oh my God. I've already forgotten. It's been so goddamn long since football.
Yeah.
I've forgotten everything about what that's like.
Because I honestly think that we have recorded after midnight more than once.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And Mark Bullock's done it with us like every time he's talked to us.
Well, I mean, we've already.
He can do it.
discussed-
We can do it.
Yeah, I mean, we have already established that he's a vampire. So
Yep.
Yeah.
he's a literal undead, blood-sucking vampire. It's the only way he can do what he does. I'm convinced.
By the way, I
Yeah,
loved that photo you sent us all of your dad in the shirt.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
That's awesome.
My dad is the proud owner of a Hog Sty t-shirt. You should grab one too. Mr. Alex is wearing one as we speak, as we record this right now.
Yeah.
It looks goddamn beautiful. I love it.
And if I
does
can
look
figure out
awesome.
how to order one, everybody can.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think it'll work
Steve.
as well advertising wise out there in Texas, but give it a shot.
I will definitely give it a shot. I think my Hog Sty t-shirt is on order. Hopefully my credit card will not be stolen because I used it online. We'll find out.
I wonder too. Like I know we got to get into it, but like I wonder too, how many people you think make that connection when they read that, the Hog Sty? How many people do you think like, oh, that's the Redskins?
In Texas,
Yeah,
not too many.
Yeah.
probably
But
very few.
Yeah, but they may ask me about it. You know, and
That's
there
true.
you go. That's advertising.
Right.
You know, advertisement right there. Out
No,
there where
that's
you
true.
guys are in the homeland,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another matter entirely.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
knows.
I mean, if I
We walk around like we have big swinging dicks when we're in those t-shirts.
sure.
Well, and see, and for those of you who don't know, I mean, when Robbie goes to training camp, and more than one of us may be there, but Robbie at a minimum will be there. Robbie has his name on the back of his shirt.
Yes,
Just
that's
so they
pretty
know.
pimping. That is pimping.
Yeah.
I'm pimping myself out to everybody.
And Robbie's very big, as you guys all know. So I think it's pretty much going to be a can't miss. Yes, that has to be Robbie Duncan from the Hog
It
Sty.
might be we might get charged for a billboard fee. I don't know.
Plus, I'll be wearing my Redskins bucket hat like I always
Sure.
do.
That's right.
I saw
Oh,
they
I
have some
remember
new
that
ones
hat.
too, so you might need to buy a new one.
Yeah, I'll have to get up to stick to the times.
Yeah. Well, grab your gear now. That's the moral of that story.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
the question on the table, first things first tonight, is Mr. Rick Snyder has an article out, and he wonders, sort of waxes poetic here about whether or not the Redskins are losing a generation of fans. And guys, what did you take from this article when you read it? Do you think it's true? First of all,
Well, of course it is. You know, I mean, yes, obviously. I mean, the times that you guys don't remember when I was in the 80s, I'm obviously, older than you all. I grew up in the 80s. I lived through the glory years. I was in RFK Stadium for some of the glory years. Went to playoff games. It was a completely different time. It was a completely different feel.
Sure.
And it has been so long now since we've had that. I think the folks that are in their early 20s, they've never really seen sustained success. We lose some, and the proof is in the pudding. The stadium, it originally was, about 80,000.
90 at its peak.
Well, yeah, at its peak, but it started out.
It started out
less
at 80.
than that. Snyder built it up to 91,000, and then right when we were about to lose the sellout streak, mysteriously he rips out, 10 or 15,000 seats.
Right.
And that's the proof it's in the pudding. Seats in butts and seats.
Absolutely, and I think to just add context to what you said from the article, if you didn't read it, who's listening to this, it has been a very long drought for the Redskins, longer than most NFL teams. I think there's two more. There's two teams with
two
with
teams in the
worse droughts.
NFC. Yeah, I mean the Lions, are one for sure.
The Vikings
Lions perennially suck, and the Vikings.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way, we're in certainly the bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of streak of badness.
So it's not just your everyday losing streak that goes on for a few years. This is very long.
No.
And I think there's a multitude of other things that need to be looked at. I do think,
Totally agree.
this is a minor one, but the stadium's location out in PG County probably doesn't help with getting younger fans who all live in Northern Virginia and Arlington and Montgomery County a little bit, but a lot in D.C., they're not going out to PG County for games. I think that's a factor, especially not for a losing product. I think the team does a terrible job marketing-wise to younger fans. I think they really by catering to nostalgia all the time, you alienate the new fans, the people who are coming to D.C. for jobs, who probably come from the Midwest. They come from all over the country, really. So that hurts you too.
Well, the thing is too, you need to win.
Yeah.
You need to
I'm
win
not discounting
consistently
that. Believe me.
Well, in order to gain younger fans, winning is important because that's all they really look at. They don't have any nostalgic feeling to go back on to be fans of this team.
I agree with that too.
I'll say, I guess I have 2 points. Number one, I say this as someone who was a former resident of Prince George's County who lived 3 miles from the stadium at one point in time. The stadium is not in the greatest area in the world. In the city, it's there's good people there. Nobody's trying to say they're not, but from an economic standpoint and a development standpoint, it's kind of in a crappy area.
I'm talking, from a transit standpoint too.
Well, I understand. I mean, the transit, but it's a dual pronged thing. There's a transit problem, and there's not a lot of people except the people who are local who are going to go there and hang out before and after a game. Whereas if you put it out in somewhere like Alexandria or something, you may still have the transit problem, but at least people are going to go there and make a day of it.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of the problem. And in terms of the marketing thing,
I want to go back to that too.
Yeah, for me, I lived through what I lived through. I think Robbie hit it right on the head. I'm always going to have my memories. The memories of me and my dad in RFK Stadium, watching them beat up on Dallas Cowboys, in games that mattered, will cause me to be a lifetime fan. And that's never going to change. And we're not talking about you guys who are the fanatics, Robbie, Alex, and Sean. It's, the folks who are young today, I mean, what do they have to hang their hats on?
Sure.
But the point, though, is that they've kind of gotten away from the nostalgia. A little bit. I mean, they used to trot the trophies out every time they had a press conference. They don't do that anymore. I mean, Bruce Allen came in and was pretty much a spectacular failure, as a GM. And now we have a guy, Robert Griffin came, and that blew up in our face.
Yeah.
He was kind of the new generation, but that exploded,
They may have eased up on that, but this still, I think Alex is right. I mean, this still is definitely an organization that lives in the glory days.
What else can they do?
No, you're right. You're right. But I think that's a great point. But I want to go back to the marketing thing too, because do you feel like they're losing this generation in particular with things like the name change debate and
I don't think it helps.
Kids these days? It certainly doesn't help. I feel like I just wanted to make the point that, like, especially young people now, stuff like that. I mean, young people are really progressive, and also we're so beholden to each other with social media and stuff. There's not as much room, I feel like, to have your own opinions. You get caught up in like the story of it, and it affects you. So I actually think it's this generation in particular that like the Redskins have taken a hit on. I think that's definitely true. It's sort of seen as an antiquated name now, and it kind of lives perpetually in the glory days. So it's like a double whammy of just not. I can see why it wouldn't feel fresh.
Well, most millennials now are pretty much liberal for most.
Oh, I mean, it's the most liberal
average.
generation since probably FDR's era.
It's just
Big
awful.
time.
You
Yeah.
guys really
Big
need to change. You're gonna ruin the country.
We all interact.
That's not me, Steve.
I know you are holding down the fort on the good, the side of the good and the light.
Hey, now, don't you alienate any viewers here.
We love you all, sort of, not really.
Point counterpoint.
Yeah, no, I just think we kind of like feed into each other and encourage each other to be that way because we're so
Well, let me
into
ask
each
you.
other
Let
all
me
the
ask you
time.
guys. This is
You
really,
know what I mean?
I guess, a Robbie and Sean thing. In today's world where there's so many more forms of entertainment, there's so much more social media, there's so many things to do. Like
Yep.
people like me, I'm in my 40s. I just don't get caught up in some of the stuff that maybe not you two guys specifically, but people of your age do.
You're
we
set
just
in your
don't.
ways. Is that a way to put it?
Well, maybe. I mean, we have our thing, and yeah, maybe it is. It's set in your ways, call it what you want. But is it a case where there's so much to do and so many other forms of entertainment that unless the team is good, they're just not going to catch your eye?
Yes, I think absolutely.
Yeah. Not you
I
two
think-
guys in
Sure.
particular, again, but just generally speaking.
It's
Yeah,
so
if you're-
easy to
if
just
you're a
pick
general
something else. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're a general fan, you're not going to stick to something if they suck.
yeah.
You
And
know,
it's so easy to
it's
just
not worth it.
even if you don't get the games in your region, you can just watch the games of another team like from the internet anytime you want. Like you don't have to be the fan of who's around anymore because you're exposed to everybody else so much more.
Yeah.
And
Basically, we just have colors and lights and shit and sounds just shoved into our faces all the time, and we're all just a little bit insane.
and
Straight
I
up.
will say
That's really what it is.
another thing we need to consider: the fact that DC right now has two teams that have arguably been the top 2 or 3 of their leagues in the Caps and the Wizards.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, not the Wizards, the Nationals. For a while now.
Maybe regular season, perhaps.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking championships, but
yeah, they're good teams.
yeah. I mean, would you rather say go to a game where you're going to watch the MVP of the Major League Baseball, and they're probably going to win because they're probably going to win 100 games this year, or would you rather go to a Redskins game where 50-50 shot?
Well, I mean, part of it is a marketing thing, though. I mean, because baseball is an everyday sport. It's cheaper.
Sure.
The ticket prices are cheaper for that very reason because there's so much more availability to see the product. They can't charge,
Right.
$150 for every seat. Whereas football, it's once a week. It's a spectacle. And so the marketing points are totally different between the two teams.
I mean, football when it was in its prime, or when the Redskins were in their prime in the 80s, tickets were more affordable. We should count that.
Well,
too.
yeah, but there's a time value of money thing going on there
Yeah,
too, and you'd have to do some inflationary calculation to figure out,
Yeah.
in
I
real
agree.
dollars today,
But I think it has gotten more expensive. I think that is true. It
Oh,
might not be
yeah.
that much, but I think it definitely has.
Oh, I think so. I definitely think so. And the season, I mean, if people forget, I mean, DC, we're lucky. There's no personal seat licenses at
Yeah.
FedEx Field. Almost every other stadium has got personal seat licenses, which jacks the price up even more.
Yeah. I've
So we're lucky in
still
that regard.
yet to quite figure those out, but I don't want to go into it. Why they still do.
It's not that hard. You can learn in 5 seconds.
Yeah, but
To
we don't
get-
have them. That's
to
why I
get
don't
on the
bother
right.
learning
Yeah,
it.
it's just if you want the right to buy a ticket,
Yeah.
you have to buy a seat license first. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just another way to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
That doesn't surprise me. Well, let me just ask this before we can move on, but let me just ask you this because Alex and Robbie, we are the three of us squarely in the millennial camp and from a technical standpoint. Why did you guys become Redskins fans? I think I know with
Well-
Alex, but yeah, Robbie, you start.
Well, my family's all Redskins fans.
Right.
I was just kind of born and raised into it.
Right. Exactly. Is that's true for you too, right, Alex?
No one in my family is a Redskins fan.
You guys are.
No, I
Eagles
thought your dad
fans,
was a
right?
huge Redskins
No, my
fan.
dad's
Aren't
a
they
Giants
Eagles
fan.
fans? Oh,
Oh my God, I got that totally wrong.
No,
Never mind.
for
Then.
me,
So why
it's
the
all
hell did
because
you end up a Redskins
You got to
fan?
remember, I'm a couple years older than you. I remember the 1991 Super Bowl. I was 8 when that happened, so I was
So you got the residual effects of
Right.
that success.
because of that. that would be why.
Yeah, see. Okay, so see, Robbie kind of got born into it. Alex, you were kind of close, close to it. I don't know why the fuck I became a Redskins fan. I think I just did it because everybody else didn't like them and made fun of them. And I just kind of became a contrarian. Like, that is not a solid enough way to gain new fans in this day and age. I think that's the moral. So
No, you don't
I
want
think
the emo
Snyder's got a point.
outcast fans.
Well, see, that's
Exactly,
the LA Clippers.
exactly.
For those of you who are out there who are California people,
Sure.
those are the LA Clippers fans. It's the contrarians. It's the emo contrarian types. The only
Right.
fans the Clippers have, or at least had for years.
Right.
Chris Paul's brought some fans in there now, but that's the LA Clipper generation.
Sure.
What you're talking about.
I do not feel good about myself coming out of this conversation, guys.
Hey, you know what?
I
You're
feel like a
Redskin fan, that's
douchebag
all that
contrarian millennial. That's
He
horrible.
became a Redskins fan because he felt sorry for him.
Sean, you need
That's
to grow
right.
out your
I have
beard
empathy in my
and
heart.
start drinking PBR.
It's definitely in my future. All right, well, on that depressing note, we can move on to the next thing on the agenda. So we've got to talk more position group breakdown stuff. Now, we're going to talk offensive tackles, and I understand our poll might have been on topic there. Is that correct, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, the
Well-
poll was on topic. The poll this week was, by the end of his career, where will Trent Williams rank amongst the great Skins offensive tackles? Because it was, Trent Williams at this point is a perennial Pro Bowler,
Right.
sometimes, All-Pro. And so the categories
Indeed.
here are best Redskins offensive tackle ever, Jacoby number 1, Trent Williams number 2.
I think that
below Jacoby and Chris Samuels, or below Jacoby, Samuels, and Jim Lachey. So basically, it's are you ranking him number 1, 2, 3, or 4? So before we give the results of the people,
So if you think Trent Williams sucks, you're not represented on this poll.
No,
You have no.
I'm just assuming that everybody who listens to us is smart enough to know, thanks to our sometimes expert opinions, that Trent Williams does not suck.
Sure.
We would hope.
Yeah.
We hope.
So what do you all think the fans voted on?
I'm going to go bold and say they put him number 1.
Oh, but remember, live in the glory days.
Yeah.
This team lives in the glory days. Don't forget.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they said behind Jacoby.
Okay. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean that sounds good because we are from a community I think that skews a little bit older in terms of Redskins fans, and I think
And we've had Jacoby
be
on the show
hard to-
multiple times.
we love Jacoby. Yeah, I mean, and Jacoby. I mean, God, I love Jacoby too. I'm gonna say the fans went below Jacoby.
Okay.
But see, here's the thing. I commented on this on Twitter before, once the poll came out. It's kind of like a MJ versus LeBron type discussion.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great
between
point.
The two
Different
of them.
Well, first of all,
eras,
that's
you
not
know.
a valid comparison because everybody knows Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are the two greatest basketball players ever, not Michael
Well,
Jordan.
it's the conversation that's always
that out there.
brought up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's,
No, I know
That's
what you
why
mean.
I said that.
I just have to get that out there.
Because MJ being Jacoby and LeBron being Trent, it's
Yeah.
people are never going to say that person's better than this person because they, it's the sentimentality is way too strong.
Well, let's also ask you guys, where do you think he's going to, not right now, but at the end of his career, I'm just assuming he's going to do at least 10 years with the Redskins when it's all said and done,
Sure.
probably more. Where do you think he's going to rank amongst the Redskins greats? What would you guys have voted for?
I mean, level of play-wise, I think if he keeps up the level of play he has for the past, let's even say the last 2 years, which weren't quite as good as his first season because of injuries. If he keeps that up for the remainder of his career, I might actually put him at number 1 because he's such a freak athletically. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
his ability to move in the run game and move upfield is unlike anything we've seen from any of these other... And they're all great, by the way. I think all of them, you can make an argument, should be in the Hall of Fame.
you could at least make an argument.
Yeah.
It's all going to come down to Super Bowl wins.
It
I truly
always
believe
will,
that.
but-
They're never going to put him up above guys that have you know what? How many Super Bowl rings does Jacoby have with this
3.
team? 3.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
And-
hard, to get past that.
And Chris Samuels is Hall of Fame worthy too, I think. But it's going to be hard for him to get
Yeah.
into it because he never won
Yeah,
anything.
he was on
Well,
terrible
it's a kind of a
teams.
numbers scheme, with him.
But I voted saying he'd be number 1.
Did you vote in this? Okay.
Oh. Wow,
All right.
that's wishful thinking.
I think he's number.
I hope so.
If I didn't vote, but if I were to vote, I would have voted him number 2, behind Jacoby. And the reason is, I think that Jacoby was more of a revolutionary in what he did. You know, he had far more impact on the game. Trent Williams isn't revolutionary; he's just really good. Jacoby was a revolutionary in many respects with his combination of size and speed, and he was on an all-time great offensive line who had dominant performances in major spotlight games, Super Bowls, championship games. Trent hadn't done that. You know, maybe it'll change, you know, but that's the way I see it right now. And in terms of Chris Samuels, you know, we all love Chris Samuels. I thought Trent was a more dominant player than Samuels ever was. I think Trent is viewed amongst his peers at a higher level than Samuels. Chris Samuels is always kind of the B-plus guy in the NFL. He was always behind. He was the big guy in Ogden. He was always behind Jonathan Ogden.
Sure, but he was in the Pro Bowl almost every year.
I know, but he was always kind of an alternate. You know, he was never the number one guy. Whereas Trent, there's people out there who think Trent's the best left tackle in the NFL.
Sure.
I mean, Joe Thomas even thinks he's better than him.
Yeah,
and I think he thinks that Trent Williams is better.
I think Trent may be better than Joe Thomas now. I don't, you know, Joe Thomas in his prime. I don't know. I mean, it's an argument, but point is, I think Trent is a better player amongst his peers in comparison than Samuels. And Lachey, you know, frankly, just wasn't here long enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
he won a
more than
Super Bowl,
anything.
but not here long enough.
Yeah, right. So, poll results. 36%, and this was very close. So this went back and forth, you know, for all the entire time the poll was up. So it was very close, but it's 36% of the people voted Trent number 2 behind Jacoby.
Okay.
A very close second at 34% said Trent was the best ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
21% put him below Jacoby and Chris Samuels, and a mere 9% put him behind Jim Lachey also.
Now, I find
So
that
that was the
surprising that's even that high.
Well, I mean, I think what you said, Alex, is valid. He's had by Trent Williams standards, 2 kind of mediocre years, I think.
Yeah, because of injury,
particularly the 2014 year, which just wasn't his best.
Yeah,
You know,
The people that answered that way are the hardcore old school fans.
sure.
Yeah.
probably so.
I bet you that's what it is.
Probably
At
so.
least partially.
And see, the thing that you got to factor into this: are you talking about success or, you know, ability and skill? Because I think it's pretty obvious that Trent
That's the
will
perfect
be
differentiation.
the best.
Well, this is
Yeah.
kind of like what does the
That's
MVP
perfect.
award mean?
Sure.
A question. You know, when I wrote it, what I was thinking of is overall effect on the team. You know, because you could say, like, to a basketball analogy, like Dominique Wilkins was great, right? He had incredible skills, never won a darn thing. He's not thought of as one of the all-time greats mainly for that reason. You know, there's a lot of skilled guys out there.
Yeah.
But then there's, as you said, you know, the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans and, you know, who won a lot and had a bigger effect on the game.
Right.
And so that when I wrote this question, that was what I was thinking of, the great offensive tackles. You know, more than just like a pure skill thing. That's what I thought.
I mean, is it fair
Okay.
to make this comparison? Jacoby, easily the best offensive tackle of his era, no question. And Trent is probably, we will be able to say the same thing about Trent Williams.
Well, I mean, Joe Thomas is the other one.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think you were talking about how Jacoby kind of changed the
Plus,
game
Tyron Smith
in his
is
era.
really good too.
I feel like you
Yeah.
could say that about Williams.
I don't think Williams has changed the game. Joe Jacoby changed the game.
I think Williams is such a, physical specimen
Prototype.
compared to most other tackles now.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You saw those pull-ups the other week.
Well, I told you guys I already beat his record on the pull-up thing. That doesn't impress me.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
All right, here's a few comments. At Burmy JB says he's the best left tackle in the league, in my opinion, and will likely stay there.
There you go.
The counterpoint,
Thanks, Burmy.
The counterpoint to that, at Don't Count Me In, Bree #HTTR. Joe Thomas is better. Can make a case for him being second.
Fair enough, Bree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Brian Mills at Fresh X Design. Jim Lachey was good, but always injured. Came down to Jacoby over Trent because of the Super Bowls.
That's what I'm
There's
saying.
that kind of effect on the game.
My man.
I like this comment. I think this was a good comment. At Sean75. Trent
Not
is
me. No relation.
His name is War Begins 72816. So,
Oh God.
Yeah, take that for however you mean. Hopefully he's not out there literally causing war. Trent is
Not a fan of this show. Never.
Trent is definitely below Jacoby and Samuels, mainly because Trent does get beat a few times a year. The other two not so much. I mean, I like to ask Robbie that. I mean, Trent does get beat every once in a while, but I don't remember Chris Samuels being perfect.
No.
See, I'd need to go back and watch Chris. I mean, I kind of really became a big-time Redskins fan, like, near the end of my high school career. And that was sort of and that was before I was, like, really watching game film of them. So I would have to go back to watch Chris Samuels more often to really form an opinion on
I will
that.
just say Patrick Ramsey was sacked, 55 times in a season when Chris was his left tackle.
Yeah.
Oops.
I mean, on the other hand,
I know there's a bunch of other guys there blocking, but still.
I mean, on the other hand, Mark Rippon
Yeah.
sacked, 6 times in 1991. I mean, I don't remember Jacoby making too many mistakes, to be honest. Everybody does.
Would
everybody
Jacoby
got
have
beat.
been the
but-
right tackle that year? Or 91? Because he switched sides once, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know. But point is...
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. So, and let me see if there's any other good response.
More comments.
Here's somebody, at Be Nice Forever. He put...
Aw.
Howard Tibbs III.
Can't promise that.
Howard Tibbs III. He says he put him behind Samuels, who was more consistent with fewer penalties.
Okay.
That is
that's fair.
true. Trent does have penalties. He
We
does
haven't even
false
talked
start
about
a lot.
that. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Good call.
Well, and let's
Nice.
face it.
Good
the
comment,
last-
Howard.
Yeah, the last thing on that, I mean, Trent's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He can't
Yeah.
keep having seasons where he's so beat up that he becomes a mediocre player.
Yep. Amen.
So
He's
Injuries
limping
will
a
kill
lot.
it.
Well, let's use that to jump right into our position group breakdown then, because with Trent, I feel like sometimes he trusts his athleticism so much that it leads to him getting beat. I don't want to say he takes plays off, but I think he sort of takes it easy on guys, because he knows that he's more athletic than the guy and stronger than the guy, and so he maybe underestimates him here and there.
who do you think, Robbie, is a guy who consistently beats Trent? Is there somebody out there who you've noticed?
That I've noticed.
Yeah, that's just consistently better than Trent Williams. There may not be any, but I'm trying to put you on the spot. But
Can't beat Trent Williams. He's gonna punch you in your
we
damn
struggle
mouth.
versus the Giants usually, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
God, but that is not even a fair thing, because that is some weird cosmic bullshit
Yeah.
that goes on with
Yeah, 'cause
that. I just want to say.
He handles the Cowboys well every time, struggles versus the Giants every time. It's weird.
well, the
I
Giants
do-
have had better ends than Dallas
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
The Giants just get our number, man.
O.C. Umanura and those guys, a few years ago were much more
Tuck.
talented. Yeah, Tuck. They were much more talented than Dallas's pass rushers.
Yeah. Outside of
Yeah,
where
nobody
yeah.
jumps to mind right now.
Yeah. See, I mean, Trent's. I trust your judgment on Trent Williams. I don't know. I just can't speak to the technical stuff. But by and large, when Trent Williams is healthy, he doesn't get beat. He's just that good.
That's the thing. When he's hurting, there's a big difference between him playing hurt, him playing hurt and being healthy.
Right.
And it's a night and day difference,
Sure.
really.
Well, let's and here's what I want to point out about Trent. It seems like Trent's been with us forever. It seems like
Really does.
Yeah, but he's actually only 27 years old, which is just unbelievable. It seems like at this point he should be older than that. So offensive linemen last longer in the NFL than do other positions. It seems like for some reason. So if you kind of fast forward, it wouldn't surprise me if he's still playing at a reasonably high level. 33, 34 years old, and so he's got maybe 7 or 8 years left with us, assuming he continues to play at a high level.
right.
And so we've got him in his salary cap number, which is going to be, and I'm going to get to. I have a whole salary cap overview here.
Yeah.
Thought I'm going to give in a minute after you get through, but he's been an Iron Man for us the entire time, basically.
Yeah,
You know, he's
you're right.
had seasons he's played all 16 games. You know, he's started every game but one in his entire career.
Yep.
You know, he's
Beautiful stat.
He's been to what, four Pro Bowls?
Well, he
at
missed
this
the
point?
one when
Straight.
somebody hit him in the head with the champagne bottle, but he.
Well, I mean, but he was
it
selected.
But that still
counts.
counts,
Yeah.
though.
I don't care about who played it. I could
Still
care
counts.
less who played in the Pro Bowl. I mean, he was selected for it.
Yeah.
You know, he's the only guy on the team, I think, that's a legitimate top of the NFL, top of his peer group.
Yeah.
He's
So
a
this is
blue player.
his 4th year, 5th year? What is it?
2010 was the year he was
So
drafted.
6
So
years.
this is he just finished his 6th year. He's going into his 7th.
Right.
Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was drafted Mike Shanahan's first season, so that you can
Yes.
just count up from
But
there.
he's 27.
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, he was born
Yeah.
in 1988, man. July. Now he's about to turn 28, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was born right around then. Our lives took very divergent paths. That's depressing.
Well, you didn't end up 300.
I think it started
pounds.
very early too.
you're not 6'5", 320, Sean. Sorry to
No,
say.
I'm not. I'm many things, but I'm not that.
So besides Trent,
Yeah, who else
on
we
our
got?
tackle roster, we also have Kevin Bowen, the giant 6'9", 335-pound rookie from East Central Oklahoma.
Ballin'.
Big, but
But third, but
Yeah.
down on the depth
yeah,
chart.
Well, he's slow, right? I mean, his 40 time was
He's slow,
five,
not
five,
very
3,
technical.
I think you said nicely a
you
lot of
look at
baby
his
fat.
highlight tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at his highlight tape. It's a lot of just like throwing people around, which he's not going to be doing in the NFL.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. You got guys that are stronger than you rushing against you. It's not going to happen. So he's got a lot
Yeah.
to learn. I'll keep. I can't wait to put my eyes on him and see what he can do. I mean, that's some big size.
Yeah,
to put
I've seen
together.
him listed 6'7", but regardless, he's a big boy. He may be the tallest player on the team, depending on how he stacks up with Inseki.
Yeah.
You know.
And then we got
Can he
Tacoby
catch a pass?
Cofield, which we yeah. We got Tacoby Cofield that we mentioned last week in possible guard spot. He's 1 year removed from his rookie year from Duke, 6'4", 314. Morgan Moses, 6'6", 335. He's going into his 3rd year, and then Ty Inseki, our go-to swing tackle guy that really proved himself, I thought.
I want to steer you toward
yeah.
Morgan Moses, Robbie, because you know what the average fan like Alex, Sean, and I saw was the guy sucked in his first year. You know, didn't look like he could play. I wondered at least if he was going to be a bust. And all
People
of a sudden,
kept
the
talking
guy's
so
hated the-
highly of him, though.
well, all of a sudden the guy's a
hated-
legit starter.
I hated the pick originally. Like I watched his college tape. He was a waist bender, not very physical. I mean, it just didn't. I was not happy with that pick, to be honest. But then watching him in camp last year, and then watching him during the games, he
Is this
made
a Bill
huge
Callahan
jump in-
thing? I mean, did his technique
Yeah,
get better?
Yes, it absolutely did. His feet was better. His footwork, everything about him was better. The only thing that he still really needs to work on is his hands. I pointed it out all season long with him. He did this thing when he was going to go strike somebody in run blocking or pass blocking. He'd do this. I called it the clap, like he's clapping at a guy. You know, like you're going to clap.
You saying Morgan Moses has the clap?
Yes, he has a clap problem. But yeah, it's hard to illustrate to listeners. But think about like you're gonna go, like you're clapping. Yeah. It looks like instead of coming straight, inside with your hands inside, his hands come around, and like you're gonna hug a guy. It's like
I
a
have
hug
noticed him do
almost,
that.
too.
Yeah.
He does it almost every
Right.
time.
But of all
And-
the
and that's-
coachable things, that sounds like a very coachable thing. I mean, dude, just don't do
You-
that, you bear-hugging son of a bitch.
Well, yeah, but he did it all season, so it's still. I mean, it's something that's gonna have to,
Something's gotta
keep
give.
drilling him on until it finally,
Maybe
clicks
they
for him.
figured let's work on the waist thing and his footwork in year one. Then
Well, it's
we
a
work
lot
on
of-
his hands.
It's a lot of muscle memory
Yeah.
to change. He's probably been doing that his whole life.
Sure.
Yeah, he's
You know,
always
yeah,
bending
so-
over and giving dudes hugs.
Like
That's
I
how
was,
he got the
I was-
clap.
That's how he got the clap. Oh man,
This is
put that on the
taking a weird
highlight
turn.
reel.
Yeah, it's a Hog Sty late night. What do you expect?
That's
We
right.
have I know what Alex is going to name this episode.
Oh God, yeah.
And just for the
Can only
record,
imagine.
Morgan, if you're listening, Redskins PR, if you're listening, we don't think Morgan Moses has the clap. It's a joke.
we actually
all.
love him very
Yeah,
much.
we do.
But see, when I was coached in pass pro, it was kind of taught how, how you see, or if you're Catholic, how the preacher puts his hands on your head and blesses you.
Well,
it's
the
kinda
preacher
like-
could do a lot of weird things. I don't know if you want to. Do that
These are
one here.
hilarious.
Let's keep this
comparisons.
clean, please.
Catholic
These are
preachers
all in the
and
gutter
and
tonight.
boys.
I know he is.
Yeah, this is we're watching this movie Spotlight.
My Ozarka. I have something different in my Ozarka water bottle today. It's mixed with
But-
flavor.
Something in the
But you
water.
see what
and
I'm doing, right? Like it looks like this. You'd have your hands like right
I'm
here
not sure
in the
our
middle.
listeners can see
Yeah.
what you're doing.
My elbows are pinched to my sides, and I got my hands together like I'm, going to put my hands on somebody's head.
cupping the
Like
head
I'm
of a small child, perhaps.
Yeah, and we'd call it basically like, I don't know, like you're gonna bless somebody. Your hands are pinched, your elbows are pinched together, hands inside, both together, and in pass pro you'd punch with both hands together. It's inside, you're not giving up your chest, and you have a lot of power in that punch. So it's perfect for knocking guys off their pass rushing.
Right.
Morgan, on the other hand, it does this hug thing
tries to
or
grab.
clap, and it gives up his chest. It gives the pass rusher an easy, read to just turn whatever the pass rush move was going to be and turn it into a bull rush, because immediately, boom, you have his numbers. You take it and then you just drive him right into the quarterback.
Robbie, I want to ask you, and I'm setting this up for something for a point later. If you had
Okay.
to rank Morgan Moses amongst the 32 right tackles, I'm not asking for specifics. I know you haven't watched tape on all of them, but ballpark it for us. Where do you think? We know Trent's top one, maybe number two. Where does Morgan Moses fall approximately in? If you had to rank him 1 through 32, where would you put him?
My criticism of him aside, I think he's a top 10 guy. I think he could
Wow.
be even top. I think he could be even top 5 if it
Like
finally
right now,
clicks for
today,
him.
you think he's top 10 roughly?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
he performed better than most right tackles last year.
I'd ask that the audience
But-
keep that in mind for a discussion
Sure.
later.
But if he can pick up all these other technical nuances, he has the ability to be an elite right tackle.
Wow.
I mean, he showed flashes of it. I mean, him and Brandon Sheriff were knocking guys around pretty much all season. He showed a physical side to him that I hadn't seen before.
He's also number
he-
one in the beard competition too.
No, that's still Niles
don't know.
Paul.
We always have good beards on this team.
Niles Paul has him beat now.
And
God,
Niles'
yeah.
beard has grown though. It wasn't, when Niles last year, I don't think he had quite the
No,
beard
no.
that Morgan did.
Well, Niles up to last year had the Baron Davis
Yeah.
style beard.
But Miles,
D-Hall.
Looked like it was almost painted on.
Niles now has something
Really
that's
did.
alive on his face.
He's an animal.
But
this
yeah,
year.
I think we have a really good right tackle in Morgan. There's just stuff that he has to clean up if he wants to be great. There's still things that lead to him getting beat.
So
I still think he kind of processes things to it's the wheels are turning in his head during the game. I think just another off season to work on things. I think should make another big jump this year. Hopefully.
I mean,
Yeah.
even if he doesn't,
It's,
if you're saying you think he was borderline top 10, I mean, we're in okay shape at least.
Well, that's a huge
Yeah.
win. I mean, he was the 3rd round pick. We passed up on prospects above him to draft him.
Yeah.
If you get a top 10 player out of a 3rd round pick, that's a huge
Sure.
win for the drafting team.
I mean, you look
Totally.
at what most of these other right tackles are. You got guys like Michael Orr, who's a lot like Morgan Moses. They're a lot alike in same play style. But then you got big guy. Most of the other right tackles are these big dudes like Phil Loadholt and
Is Phil Loadholt bigger than Moses? Is a pretty big guy.
Phil Loadholt is huge, man. He's got a lot more weight on Morgan than he. If they're the same weight, then Phil is a lot more. He's got his weight is more fat than it is muscle.
The thing I would point out, though, that probably helps in Moses' case is we drafted him to be a right tackle.
Yeah.
Where I feel like most teams, their right tackle is a guy who kind of gets there by default.
They're failed left
Yeah,
tackles.
exactly.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I think there is something to that in his case. I don't know how much...
Well, I mean, he played left tackle in college.
Well, but everyone
I mean,
plays left
so
tackle in college if they go in the NFL.
Well, like
it
Brian
seems
Bulaga
Well, true.
is a good example. He was drafted to be a left tackle. They tried him at left tackle, and now he's a right tackle. It's because he wasn't that good.
And even then, he's still not that good.
No, I know you don't lie. I know you're not a fan, Robbie. I mean, but point is, they tried him at left tackle. They brought him in to be a left
Right.
tackle. He wasn't good at it, so now he's a right tackle. Whereas Morgan was never going to be a left tackle. He was always going to be a right tackle here. So I
Yeah.
think it's a good point, Alex. Really.
So my question then for you guys is, if Trent Williams goes down, who takes his spot? Does Morgan Moses flip over, or what happens?
Ty and Secchi
Yeah.
goes in.
And so Nseki, who's technically listed behind Moses, he moves over.
swing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
he's a swing tackle.
Here's. Let me comment on that. Any depth chart you see of the offensive line,
People just have to
it's
be
just
put
a-
somewhere. I mean, yeah.
it's a formality. It's going to be the next best guy in for the position. Like if a tackle goes out, the next best tackle will go in. So Ty and Secchi's going to go in for Trent when Trent goes down. Morgan will stay at right. And same will go for anybody on the interior. Like I said, Spencer Long, I think, will be that
He'll
guy
be number 4.
he'll be that guy in for whoever goes out in the interior.
Well, and also remember that Ty
Nice.
Nseki, friend of the show, Ty Nseki, told us that he felt more comfortable personally at left tackle than right tackle. He said he had to
Yeah.
learn the right tackle. Robbie, tell us again. You've gone over this before, but maybe not for about a year or so. Tell us before how the difference between playing on the left and the right side on the O line.
I actually think it's the big difference in the transitions from sides. It's not your pass blocking; it's the run blocking. Because it's hard when you're used to stepping with your right foot to go right in a running play, or there's different. You got to step with different feet for different plays first, and you got to take different angles. If you're more comfortable with getting your deep angle to overtake a guy, or work a double team with the guard, or run up to the linebacker, you get used to different angles and how you get there depending on the side. So yeah, I'd really say the harder transition is how you execute your run blocks. Pass blocking you get used to because you do it all the time.
Now, I'm assuming, Robbie, in high school you were probably a left tackle, right?
I played there. I also played right tackle, played right guard. I moved all around.
In high school? Okay, now when you were at ODU, what did you start out at?
Started out at right guard. Then they moved me out to right tackle. Played a little bit of left tackle too, but mostly left guard, right guard, and right tackle.
Okay, so not a lot of left tackle then. And so it's would have been if your left tackle went in and they went, oh my God, Robbie, you got to get in there, play left tackle. Would it have been a major transition for you on the fly, or is it just football?
Yeah, doing something on the fly, that is hard. Like if you're say like if Morgan Moses had to switch over to left tackle in the
We
game,
have catastrophic injuries,
Trent.
and oh, holy Christ,
Yeah.
Morgan, you got to go in there.
if you did that and had Ty go in at right tackle and Morgan go to left, it'd be a shit show. Because it's hard to he's been playing the whole game at right tackle, and now you have him playing
Right.
left. If it's say like a week, you got a week's time to prepare, it's easier to do. But in the middle of the game, it's rough. It's really hard.
Well, last week
interesting.
when we were talking with Ari Kwanjo, you had a bunch of football terms in there that went over my head a little bit in terms of pass blocking.
yeah.
What'd you say? Kick slide was one of them, I believe.
Full slide, kick
What
slide.
tell us a little bit briefly about what all that stuff is.
Well, kick slide basically is just your steps in pass blocking. Like you see when the play starts, you see the left tackle, right tackle kicking back into the backfield to block the defensive end. That's just what they call it. It's a kick step or kick slide, same thing. Kick step is when you kick back to block the guy, and then say if he tries to go inside on you, you do what's called a post step, where you keep your inside foot up and basically kick inside with that inside foot still up. They call it a post step.
Okay.
Okay. Now, well, first of all, let's see. I guess we're at the end here. We've talked about all of them.
We've talked
Do
about
you
the
think
big
Bowen's-
three, yeah.
Do you think Bone's going to make the team? Is he a practice squad guy?
I think he could be a practice squad guy. If not, then he'll just be, bagging groceries.
Here's my kind of question on these other, because we have, 3 more guys who are all back the roster trying to make the team? Since we don't have film...
Yeah.
Book's just out on them, yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to kind of look at with these young guys, Robbie, when you're at camp? Like...
First thing I look at offensive linemen is
Okay.
their feet. How fast do they move their feet? How's their base? How's their, how are their shoulders? Are they hunched over? Are they arched? How are their hands? It's the technical
So bottom
things.
up, kind of, sounds like.
Yeah, I would go from bottom up.
And
exactly.
I guess the only other thought I had about him, I know one guy we kind of talked about, we weren't sure if he's a guard or a tackle. How much value do you think that's going to be for the team if a guy can play inside and outside? Since, we're talking about the guy who's going to be fourth
huge.
on the depth chart. He needs to be as versatile as possible, I assume.
Yeah, it's huge. It makes you much more valuable to the team. If you can do everything, then they're going to find a place for you. And that's what I think Jacoby Cofield could be. I think he's done some guard here and there during the season in practices and practice squad stuff. And I think he could be that guy. I'm really hoping that he could be that guy. He's still young. He's only 24 years old, 1-year guy, depth guy.
He's 6'4", so he's a little bit shorter than your average tackle, but probably enough.
A little bit.
Enough, but he's got 34-inch arms, which is over the magic number,
And if we're talking about backup.
The great arm length debate.
Yeah, 30 and 33, I think, is the magic number for NFL left tackles, So he's got the physical tools to be that versatile.
Right.
Yeah. And, Alex, you said, what do you look for when you watch linemen? That's what I was going to say, that I jumped out immediately about Ty and Secchi back in training camp. That when they were doing the one-on-ones and stuff, and his feet was what impressed me the most. And then I watched him more and more, and he was just dominating guys in one-on-ones.
We have to admit, he's also a big...
That's what led
he's big, so that probably helps him.
Well, yeah, but that's not what jumped out to me originally. They're all big guys out there with pads on.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, his feet was what caught my eye first, and then I watched him in one-on-ones, and he beat pretty much everybody, and that's why I was like, dude, this guy's going to be our swing tackle.
And you called it. I think you were the very first one that called it.
I was the only one talking about him. That really was.
Yeah.
And then why everybody kept saying, oh, it's going to be Willie Smith who's going to be our swing tackle. And Willie Smith was terrible. He was.
Mrs.
He was
Smith is on line 2.
I remember you were telling every reporter we got on, look at this guy. Look at him. Look
and
at
they all
him.
blew you off. Every one of them blew you off, too. Pretty much.
And sure enough, he made it, and then sure enough, started against the Jets, and sure enough,
it looked pretty
had a
decent.
Great game.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
So, I that's my claim to fame.
All right. Let's look at a big picture thing real fast with these guys. Salary cap. From the tackle group only, we've got about $13 million in cap hit, and obviously 10.6 of that is Trent Williams, and the rest of these 4 guys are based on men's salaries. Not one of them is even making more than $900,000. Okay?
Sweet.
Now, and so there's a little bit of room to grow in the tackle situation. Now let's look across the whole O-line. Right now we're spending about 17% of the cap. Under the summer, this is rule of 51 stuff, but about 17% of the cap is going to the offensive line. If you look across the line left to right, we've got Trent Williams making $10.7 million. We've got Sean Laval making $5 million. We've got Corey Lichtensteiger, whose name I always mispronounce, making $3.9 million. I'm talking cap hit here, okay?
Yep.
Right guard Brandon Scherf, he's got a cap hit of about $4.8 million. Right tackle is the only one that's low, okay? Morgan Moses has got a cap hit of about $864,000. He's on his rookie contract.
Right.
But he's going into year 3. He's got, this coming year is going to be his 3rd year. He was drafted in 2014. His rookie contract is about to come up. They're going to renegotiate. He doesn't have a starter salary. He's about to have a starter salary. And the reason why I wanted to nail you down in where you thought he was ranked, Robbie, was that if you look at the starting Oh, and of course I just lost
The starting right tackle salaries.
Yeah, the starting right tackle salaries. You've got, at the top, you've got Lane Johnson, Brian Bulaga. These guys are making, like Lane Johnson particularly has got just an insane contract, $10 to $12 million cap hit a year, $20 million guaranteed. You know, a little bit crazy. Brian Bulaga's contract's almost that big. He's got an $8 million cap hit. But a guy who's ranked like number 12, Sebastian Vollmer in New England, he's got a cap hit about between $4 and $7 million, $8.25 million guaranteed. All these guys have dead money that will allow them to be cut after year 2, like year 3 and beyond. They all have about either 4 or 5 year contracts. So you got to figure that if Morgan Moses, call him ranked number 10, Robbie's number 10, you got to figure he's aiming. If he was to get a contract today, he's probably aiming for a contract that's going to have a $5 to $6, $7, $8 million cap hit a year. Okay, and so that if you look at Tandler, Rich Tandler had an article that came out this week on his Real Redskins site where he was talking about a balanced salary cap.
Right.
And he grouped contracts into high, mid-level, and low. It's what we've really got. We've got Trent Williams with a high contract, the second biggest on the team, and we've got 3 guys in the left guard, center, and right guard that have got high, middle contracts. Okay. Now you say, Steve, what about Sean Laval? He's probably on his way out. And that may be true, but if one of these guys, Laval or Quanjo or Long, steps up to be a starter. Long in particular is class of 2014. If he becomes a starter, he's going to end up with that same contract.
Right.
Okay, so the money, even if Laval is shipped out, you're going to have the same money there. And so what we're talking about here is adding another, probably in today 2016 dollars, another about $5-6 million to the cap. Now, fortunately, the Redskins can absorb something like that because we're about $11 million under the cap. But in terms of spending, what it's going to do is kick the O-line spending up to about 20% of the cap, which isn't that unreasonable.
No.
And so I think what I'm saying here is, as long as the backups have low contracts or min salary, rookie contract kind of thing, I think we can absorb a big contract for Morgan Moses that pays him like the number 10 right tackle in the league. We can absorb a $6 to $8 million cap hit a year. Right now as we stand, as long as they don't go crazy, and that's kind of what Tandler's article was all about. I mean, Tandler's art.
That was a great article to bring up because I really read that with some interest. He seems to indicate that we're in pretty good shape. I think.
Well, that's why
we knew that, didn't we?
That's why we're going over all these. That's why I keep every week. I'm reading you guys the percentage of the cap. The only, we really haven't had a position group, even the defensive backs, that are dramatically out of whack.
Except wide receivers, which we haven't covered yet.
We haven't got to yet. Yeah. But there's a
Cause
solution to that
next week.
Yeah, which we'll get to. I mean, DBs are only 13% of the cap, and that's including safeties and corners put together. It's including Josh Norman. We haven't overspent on any one position group.
And DBs are more than 10% of the roster, too. So,
yeah, it's a big group.
Yeah.
It's a big group. And so we have, I think the cap is structured so we can truly take care of, at a minimum, Morgan Moses and the winner of the Spencer Long, Ari Kwanjo sweepstakes.
Right.
I think we can absorb both of those guys and put them on full starter salaries. That's the point I wanted to make with this. From a
beautiful situation to be in.
Yeah.
As long as we keep drafting those backups, and you got to cycle through. I mean, it's heartless to say you got to just cycle through rookies then as depth, but as long as we keep doing that, we should be okay then.
Well, that's Tandler's point.
Yeah.
That's friend of the show, Rich Tandler's made that point. I mean, he said, McLuhan is good at signing the guys that are good and cycling through a bunch of rookies and no names on min contracts to fill out the back of the roster.
Then we have a brilliant contract guy in Eric Schaefer, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's starting to get a lot of attention recently.
He is. The difference in the Vinny days is we'd have a bunch of front-loaded, contracts, real high contracts, but our lower guys stunk.
Right.
We didn't have guys that were depth guys that were any good.
Every other year, let's redo John Jansen's contract so that we have some cap room. Every year. It was
comical. And so Yeah, I mean, we're gonna cycle out Sean Laval. I hate to say it, with this year, next year, he's gonna be gone. We're gonna dump his contract with somebody that's gonna come up behind him.
Right.
D'Angelo Hall, same thing. He's gonna leave. It's in the next couple of years.
Right.
But coming behind him is Breland with a new contract.
That's right.
And we're gonna draft somebody, but we've got Fuller.
Right.
Coming up behind him on a min deal, and the way we have it set up, McLuhan has truly fixed the salary cap. And as long as they don't go crazy and sign too many Josh Normans, we're going to be kind of in good shape. And I think that's the point that Rich Tandler was making. That's the point we've been talking about on this show for this entire offseason with all these.
And I think we're all in agreement there. I mean, it's great news.
Yeah. And so unlike the normal status quo.
Well, and
It's just
I
refreshing.
mean,
we
people
stumbled
like
upon
to
this.
Give Schaefer credit. I also give a little credit to Bruce Allen. I think when he came in here, he made getting our cap right a priority too. So I give him
He's
a little
been
bit
good
of
about
credit
that,
as
too.
well.
Well, he fixed all the crazy strung out contracts. That's what he did. We had the contracts that had all the salary cap hit, at the back end of the contracts. We'd have guys that were too old and underperforming on, they'd have a massive cap hit, and then they'd extend the contract and string it out some more, and and we fixed all that.
Yep.
All these contracts we have for the big contracts, kind of, the cap hits go down at the end of the contract, which is what should happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't go crazy at the end like in the Vinny era.
Yeah, great point. Well, I mean, if we don't have any more to go on that, are we ready to play a game? Or should we save it for next week? I mean, I'm really excited about this, but what do you guys think? Should we go for it?
I did a little work.
It's
so
game
I
night.
want to play my game.
No, I know, and it's fun.
It's
Yeah,
game night in America.
Yeah, Friday night is game night.
that's right.
All right.
Bring the kids to the table, turn your radio dial up, and play along with us.
Okay, now, so let me tell you guys a quick backstory of this game. I was looking for, because I buy things to fill empty holes in my life, I was looking for something signed by Sammy Baugh on eBay. And when I found that thing, it was way too much money for me. So I ended up buying a mini helmet signed by Charlie Taylor instead for a much more reasonable price, because I'm cheap. But it gave me an idea for a game. And the game is basically a lot like The Price is Right. I went and found a bunch of different Redskins collectibles. All sorts of different things, some signed by players, some not. Some signed by people associated with the team. Some are just cool things. I was like, hey, let's add this to the list.
There's a lot of random Redskins
There's
products.
a lot.
I'm gonna be terrible.
There's a
at
lot
this.
of
me
random
too.
Redskins stuff on there. Some of it is overpriced. Some is way underpriced. I'm gonna give you guys the item, and the game is simple. Whoever gets closest to the price point wins.
Without going over?
No, we're not going to do that because I don't want one of you assholes saying, I bet $1 every time.
Yeah, because that's what would happen. You know that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, but if we guess, are any of these items in your house already?
No. I just found them all on eBay.
I was going to say I want to win the price. I want to win the item if we guess the price.
Well, I will. If you guess it right and you really want it, Steve, I have all the links. I will send it to you. You can go buy it.
I can go buy it myself.
Yeah. You make more money than any of us, I think. So you can go buy some of these things.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys ready to play? Any more explanation
I'm ready.
needed?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to start you guys off with a. Let's start with an easy one. The item here is a photo signed by Jeff Bostic. It's a photo of him with snapping the ball. Signed.
Okay.
Unframed.
Signed unframed.
Okay.
Authenticated in any way? Where is this coming? Are these all from one selling source like
mostly
eBay?
from eBay and a couple other sports memorabilia sites that.
I do think you need to tell us if it says it's authenticated or not.
Let me open it up. So a lot of them don't say if they are or not, which always.
That's fair.
That's always
We
hinky
can
to
still-
me. I agree with you there, Steve. But I can pop it open real quick and tell you.
All right.
Okay, but this particular item, this signed photo of Jeff Bostic signing the ball, this is on eBay.
Well, this is on sportsmemorabilia.com, and it's authenticated by Fanatics.com.
Okay, so it is
that's a big
authenticated.
name. That's a big name. Okay.
Who goes first? You gotta drive the boat here, Alex.
Okay,
Who do you want to go first?
I'm gonna just
Ooh,
go.
Don't call on me. Don't call on me.
I'm gonna go right to left on my screen, and that means Steve, you go first.
Okay.
I was in the back of the classroom, ducking down.
I was always the guy in the front row, so I guess I need to go first.
Douchebag.
Okay, Jeff Bostic signed, unframed, authenticated. We love him, here, but it's only Jeff Bostic in terms of sports memorabilia. So I'm going to say that is a $40 picture.
Steve says 40.
Yep.
Robbie.
Is it? I mean, okay.
I want to say 75.
75 for Robbie. Sean.
40 and 75. I think Steve was probably on something going lower. I am going to say 40, 70. Okay. I'm going to go 50.
50. Guys, you are all way over. This
Really?
This
Way
item
over?
is selling for
Wow.
$9.95.
Steve
No,
wins
hold
it.
on a minute. Is that the opening bid, or is that the current bid, or what? Or is that the buy me now price?
I
What is
believe
it?
that is the buy me now price.
Okay,
I'm
only-
not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
I'm surprised that it's only $10.
Well, it's an unframed
But-
photo, I think.
Yeah,
But
that
Steve,
hurts.
you get the point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
Don't complain too
A win
much.
is a
yeah,
win.
win is a
Yeah.
win. All right, so that was a fairly easy one, and there are a lot in
And
here
yet
that
we
are
all
low ball.
blew it.
So, do you want something easier?
No.
just go.
No,
Give
just
us the
roll.
real
Okay.
deal.
Roll.
All right, so Steve, since you get the point, you're going to go first on this next one, and this next one
Uh-huh.
is a Redskins yellow mini helmet signed by Sonny Jurgensen. So it's that golden R helmet.
Authenticated
Ooh.
or not authenticated?
I will double check that.
Did he use the standard issue Sharpie?
Did he use the standard issue Sharpie? It is a black
Yes.
Sharpie. Is that standard?
That standard issue.
And
Acceptable.
I don't see anything on here saying if it's authenticated or not.
Okay. All right. So not
Sonny's my
authenticated,
man.
but it's Sonny, Hall of Famer. Does the signature say Hall of Fame on
I
it?
believe it does, yes. It says HOF.
Okay,
Oh.
that's gonna be a little bit more, and it's a mini helmet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 150 bucks.
150 for
Oh,
Steve.
you fucker.
What is that? What you were gonna guess, Sean?
I'm not just saying that.
Sean,
I'm
do you
gonna
want
go
to go next, or do you need a
149.99.
minute?
No, I can go. Damn, that's a sweet item. I want that. Yeah, I'm gonna go 125.
125?
We're definitely over 100, but I don't know if we're over 150.
All right. Robbie,
I want to assume we're over 200. I'm gonna say
210.
Oh man.
Wow. Okay, Sean, you were
Don't
only
make it so
$2 off.
stupid.
It is $127.
wow.
I told you he's my man.
All right.
Nice.
Gets the point. Is someone
like
keeping
this game.
track of the
I am
points
keeping
here?
Yeah, I
track.
got you.
Alex is.
I got you.
All right.
Nipping at your heels, Steve.
So I'm going to change it up here, and we are going to go. Let's have some fun with this. A Robert Griffin 2013
Oh my
Topps number 150 card. It's not. I keep on wanting to
Oh
say
my
baseball card,
God.
but it's not a baseball card. It's a football card.
Did you say
Oh my
2013
God.
or 12?
2013.
Okay.
Oh God, this gets worse and worse.
Sean gets to go first.
Sean
since
goes
you got
first because he
point.
won the point. Yes.
This is a fire sale item. I mean, someone's just like, this has got to go, and this is like clearance must go.
All right. He's stalling for time.
Jeff Bostic, $10. No, this is a $3 item. I'm gonna say $3.
$3.
Five. Let me say $5.
$5.
Oh.
He's going up.
$5.
Robbie.
You got to imagine no one's gonna sell something.
250. I like that Robbie's putting in change because a lot of these things
I
do
was-
Oh.
have .99 and .50 in them. So,
I was going to go 5, so I'm going to go 4
4?
instead. Yeah.
boys, Robbie gets the point this time. This
God damn
item
it.
is 20 cents.
Oh, that's sad, guys.
If you have 2 dimes, you can have Robert Griffin's signature.
I don't know. You
Guys,
might want to
that's
just save the
sad.
2 dimes.
3 years ago, that would have been
20
at
cents.
least $20.
Yeah.
But see, I knew it wasn't a rookie
If
card.
it was
a
2012, it'd be
2013,
something different.
So that was-
Yeah. I'm assuming
already
none
definitely
of you want the link
depreciated.
to that. I'm just going to delete it.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Okay. Sticking with our quarterbacks, though, this is a
boy.
1992 copy of Sports Magazine, autographed by Mark Rippon.
Okay.
Authenticated or not authenticated?
I believe it's authenticated.
Okay.
It's a magazine,
Robbie.
not a well-known magazine by any means.
Robbie's up.
Robbie is up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm gonna say 50.
50 for Robbie.
Yeah. Who's next? Yeah.
I guess Steve would be next.
Okay. It's Mark Rippon. You say 92?
Yep, 1992.
Okay. I'm gonna go 75.
75.
Yep.
Wait, so we have 50 and 75?
Right.
Right.
Sean, you're
So we have-
last. 1992 Sports Magazine.
Remind me one last time what the Jorgensen comment went for?
127. But that's a helmet.
50 and 75. Oh, God. $35.
$35. Sean gets the point. It is $28.99.
Is that it?
Yep.
But that was the year after the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's a
But I
weird
mean,
magazine,
the-
man. People like this is the
yeah,
thing.
I guess.
I'm going to give you guys a hint. Weird
We're
items like
overvaluing
photos
Redskins
go for
stuff
dirt
because it's
cheap.
Redskins stuff.
Yes, we are.
If it's not a helmet or a jersey, things get cheap.
There's only so much.
I
you're
think
gonna
we would
get.
have been more successful if you'd picked like the Minnesota Vikings or something to do with this. We probably would have been more.
Because you wouldn't have
We'd
cared
have
about
even
the
less,
prices
yeah.
and the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair
true.
point. Well, speaking of jerseys, let's go with the jersey. This
Oh,
is
boy. I have to be the first person to go first on a jersey one? Fuck.
Yeah. Now, this is not, I believe this is not an actual signed jersey. This is one of those jerseys with a fake signature put onto it.
Okay.
Of Chris Handberger. It is
the fuck?
Chris Handberger, my favorite player when I was 5 years old.
There you go.
Chris Handberger.
It is
A
a
Chris
2011
Handberger replica.
throwback jersey with his fake signature on it.
Is it framed?
It is not framed.
What's
Okay.
the year again?
It is
Sorry?
the 2011 replicas of the throwbacks from the
my gosh.
1972 team.
This is way
my
before
gosh.
your time, Sean. He
Oh my
was,
gosh.
Chris Handberger's in the Hall of Fame.
He's a
my gosh,
linebacker.
I have no
was
idea
the
what
best
the value of
he
this
was the
is.
best defensive player on the
Number
team.
55.
And he was my favorite player when I was a super little kid.
No,
'Cause
I
his
don't
name was
doubt
Hamburger.
I have no doubts about the pedigree of the player, but Jesus, a fake signature on a replica jersey that
It's
came out in
it's something that
2011.
the NFL did for a while, I believe.
Oh God, this is like this is not new.
I'm pretty sure it's
with
a fake
tags on
signature.
it.
I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure it's fake.
Oh man, okay, I gotta stop
Well,
stalling
wait a minute.
here.
The write-up would say in the ad if it's fake or not, right?
It says something about a hologram, so I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
JSA
probably bullshit.
hologram. I don't know what that means.
And I'm sorry, one more time. This is not like new with tags on it. Like somebody's selling this.
Someone's
that they
selling
own
this. Yes.
Okay. I mean, the funniest thing is, I feel stupid saying this, but it's a jersey. People like to mark that up.
I mean, buying one normal
It's so expensive.
off the-
$100.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say $45.
45 for Sean. Going low. Okay.
Yep.
Robbie, you're next.
Going pretty low.
I'm gonna say
130.
Oh my gosh, really?
And Steve, your childhood hero. What do you bid?
I think $80.
$80.
Yeah.
Because you got to imagine it's used.
Hold on, I gotta do some
you
math
can't
in
pay
my
over
head.
100
Yeah,
for
but
used.
it's a jersey is the thing.
I have to
Yeah,
do some
no,
math
you're
in my
right, that's
head
what I'm-
because I believe there's only $1 difference between what Robbie and Steve bid because it's $106.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you bid,
He
Rob?
bid 130. You bid
130.
80. So that would put you at 26 off and
how-
Robbie
what
at
was the price?
24.
Okay, Robbie won.
Yeah, so Robbie gets the
Damn.
point there.
boom.
We were all over the place on that one, guys.
Yeah, it's a
All right, maybe
it's-
one more.
Yeah.
All right, so, no, go ahead.
okay.
Keep going.
Okay, so the next one, I'm trying to find one of my favorites that I found, and here it is. This is a big item. A 1962 Topps card.
Okay.
The full 1962 Redskins team, signed by the owner, George Preston Marshall.
Oh. Wow. That's another really tough one.
This
I'm
is
glad I don't have to
this
go
is a
first,
very
Robbie.
tough one. Robbie will be going first. Do you guys need a minute to think about this and talk it through?
I just like to talk out loud and make other people listen to
Yeah.
it. So
I mean,
That's
it's a
why we
radio
have
show.
podcast.
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
We all
goddamn.
love to talk.
That's a really good point.
150.
150 for Robbie. Okay.
You see, I'll go next. Am I next?
Yeah,
don't know.
you can be next.
I think
This is a complete guess.
George Preston Marshall was a racist.
yes.
You know, and he's a disliked person because of his treatment of African Americans, and we all know the whole story. I'm not going to get into it. And this is only a card, right? You said it's a signed card.
It's a signed
Or is it a
card
whole
of the
set?
team.
Yeah, but 1962, Steve. I mean, Topps was
I
probably
know.
like at its
It's
peak at that
historic.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And you said what, Robbie? How
Robbie
much?
said 150.
I said 150, but I'm not very
I'm
confident.
gonna. And it's just one card with the whole
Yep.
team, right? It's not a set. Of cards.
It's a card,
I'm gonna
yeah.
say, I'm gonna say $40.
Steve says
$40.
$40.
Yeah,
Steve said, and Robbie said 150.
because of the markdown for Marshall.
And because
Yes.
Steve hates racism.
Yes, we all do.
This is I obviously do hate racism. This is just a business.
Yeah.
I don't hate it as much as you guys do, but I mean, I do hate it.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Don't take it seriously.
Sean hates white people.
Yes, I'm so racist.
Sean would have had the all-black team to counter Marshall's all-white team back in the 60s.
That's right.
All right, Sean, you're last up.
Okay, so Topps 1962 cards are super big. This does have an element of history to it. It's the full team card, which I don't think is necessarily as interesting as an individual player card. Plus, Steve's right with the Marshall markdown. I'm going to go below Robbie, but over Steve, and I'm going to say 100 flat.
100 flat?
Probably gonna be like a $500 card or something here.
Well, you're actually way off
not.
there, Steve. You are way off. This card is
good.
worth $3,855.99.
3,000.
I
I was gonna bid $40.
So Robbie gets the point there.
I win.
I don't
That
think
is
anybody deserves a point
insane.
for that one.
Yeah,
No
nobody
one
wins.
deserves it, but
If,
No,
you're more than $2,000 off, you don't
Yeah.
deserve a point. Okay?
Yeah, so,
No, the rules are the rules, but I
I was
can't
so
believe
close.
it.
I mean,
We got to end on a better one than Marshall.
here's
though.
my only thought on that. It has to be something where he didn't sign
Apparently,
everything.
my thought is
It,
apparently people really like racist owners.
well, there, you know.
No, it's the historic.
No, I think it's
I think
probably
the
he didn't
history
sign a lot.
outvalued that.
You know.
Probably
Yeah, the rarity of it is a very good point. I mean, who knows if he ever did shit like that? Wow. Well, I mean, we could do one last one. Robbie's in the lead right now by 1 point, but
Let's
do you
end on something better than
Okay.
Preston Marshall.
All right.
do you have anything
I don't
just
like
like
it.
stupid and crazy on the
Anything that's not Preston Marshall.
Yeah. I mean, that was stupid and crazy in terms of price tag.
list? True.
Here,
Make an excellent point.
I'm trying to find a good last one.
And I'd just like to say while he's looking that unless it's a Super Bowl ring, I'm not paying $3,000 for any memorabilia.
Oh yeah, I mean,
No.
You know?
I
That's
told
crazy.
you the story
Unless you have that money
about
to
the
throw
Sammy
away.
Baugh thing off the
Sorry.
air, but I'll just say the price tag on the thing I wanted was $700. That's why I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Oh my God.
too rich for my blood.
Well, that's not. See, that's in the ballpark of reasonable, but I mean, $3,000 for a card. I mean, no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, it'd have to be a Super Bowl ring for me to pay
Yeah.
that. But go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Yeah.
here
Sorry, Alex.
let's end on one of our favorite people, Joe Jacoby. Very
Hey!
simple, signed mini helmet. A lot of signed mini helmets out there, by the way. I'm starting to collect mini helmets. I'm not asking people to buy them for me. Just saying they're out there and they're all over the place, and loving every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, is the signature authenticated, and does it say anything else like Super Bowl or anything?
Let me
like
pull
that
it up on. It's already signed for you.com is the website.
Already signed for you?
That's not
Yeah.
a good.
No, I know. That's certainly the height of, you know.
Yeah, it's not.
Legitimate
It doesn't
website.
really say if
Alex
it's
is on.
authenticated.
I think we
Or
need
no,
to call
it is.
Joe and
It's
see if he
authenticated
actually
by
signed this thing.
Affion Sports.
Okay.
I've never
Affion?
heard of them. So,
Say it again. What is it?
I'm sorry, Athlon.
Athlon. Yeah, that is. They are.
Are they?
Legit. I think we need to call Joe and see if he actually signed this thing for some weird company like that.
It doesn't
Next
say
time we
Hall
have
of
him
Fame
on,
on
we're
it,
gonna
Steve.
bring
You'd
him up.
asked about that.
Well, no, I didn't
All right,
say
so-
that. I said Super Bowl. He's not.
Oh,
in the
I'm
Hall
sorry.
Of Fame yet.
It
But
doesn't
does
say
like,
anything about the Super Bowl on it. No,
17 or something
it's
like
just
that.
his signature
All right, so I got the
in
last
gold
point. So
Sharpie. If that matters.
I'm going
Still
to say
standard.
$300.
Rob
300?
says
Yeah.
300.
And I'm sorry. Was this a mini?
Yeah.
helmet? Did you say?
It's hard to
Okay, who's
find
next?
full size helmets. I was really looking for those for a while, but yeah, this is a mini helmet.
I am in second place, so I will take the next guess
All
here.
right.
Okay, so Mark Rippon wasn't too expensive, but Jurgensen was a bit over that. Joe Jacoby signed mini helmet, authenticated, 175.
175.
That's probably high. I think that's high.
What did Jurgensen go
127.
for? Okay. I'm going to say 150.
150.
Even though I know that's not a good bid strategy because it's not very far below Sean, but I think it's in the 150s category because he's a little newer. You know, he played.
Yeah.
You know, more people remember him than Jurgensen.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I will say this: the guy who always seemed to have his stuff being overpriced when I was looking, Riggins. All his stuff goes for way much more money than.
I'm sure.
I don't think he signs very much. That's part of it.
It's that probably, but also he's one of the most iconic. He's in the most iconic image of the NFL of all time. So that
I have one on my wall right now.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So does Robbie.
Robbie
Wow.
and Steve both showing off their stuff right now.
Hanging on my wall. I have a signed poster
All
by
right.
John.
Well, I've got the
Damn.
one. I've got the one. The
run.
4th and 1 playing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the run.
That's
That's
Yep.
That's better.
Okay, so
All right. So
Steve will win the point here.
You already guessed.
It is only $83 on their website.
Oh wow.
Damn it.
So
So now Steve and I are tied.
yeah. So
Robbie
if,
wins,
if you
though.
guys want a link to that, let me know.
Robbie's already got one.
Yeah. Okay, so that does
damn.
it for the game. Robbie wins our first edition of
Yay.
Redskins
The
Price
bastard.
is Right. We don't really have a good name for it
I
yet. We
didn't
need a better name.
expect
But
I like that.
The Redskins Price is Right is no good unless we have the models to show us the stuff.
well,
Yeah. Come out, yeah.
Do I win a new car?
No, you win a signed mini helmet. Is what you win.
That's right.
get me a mini helmet. I'll sign it. There you go.
A mini helmet signed by Alex.
Yeah.
We're gonna sell it on eBay, and you run a pricing game.
We'll
I bet you
sell
could
on
get
our-
more than
on
that-
our,
than that.
T-shirt site. We'll all sign
You're
mini
gonna
helmets.
get more for it. Well, we're gonna get more for it than the Robert Griffin
card.
signed
I
card,
wouldn't.
yeah.
I don't know
Right.
about that.
20 cents. That's crazy.
Hey, people spend more than that on our T-shirts.
Yeah.
So, hey, man.
Yeah.
Don't sell us short.
So that does
All
it
right.
for the game. Robbie is the big fat winner. Congratulations,
losing.
there,
Winner.
Deadeye. And we'll probably do this again because I have got like 30 more things on this list.
Oh, my
We'd be here
God,
all
yeah.
night if
Sounds
we
good.
did that. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to do it anyways. I actually thought it was
It's
really
gonna be a
fun.
Hog Sty early morning if we do 30 of them.
No. I think 7 is plenty. All right.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah, there we go.
Thanks for joining us for the game, ladies and gentlemen. You're the shit. We'll see you next time.
Buy a T-shirt.
Quick ending.